Hi everyone, it's Ren here. I hope you're doing well, guys. As often happens on Sunday, I publish a video. This seems to have been the case now for a while, and why not stop this rhythm? Now, in this particular video, um, I'm going to get a little bit more speculative than usual. Now, you probably know, if you follow my videos, that my temperament is speculative, honestly, and I have grown to enjoy the more practical side of things, and maybe given my perspective, given some advice in my videos, it's definitely a sort of area of development that I have enjoyed investing time in from my own perspective as well as from yours. So that's great, but my temperament is quite speculative. And in keeping with that, some of you might actually have seen that I posted, on the community sort of side of the channel, I posted about the prospect of writing a book. So I've written a fictional book, which I keep giving the links to in the description box. If you're still interested, you can access that. But there are two more books that are kind of in the pipeline for me. The book that's closer to finished, at least that seems closer to finished, is a book on, well, it's another fictional, it's another novel basically. I'm close to finishing. Well, I finished the first draft of a novel. Notice I'm rambling at the moment, but don't mind me, this is going to be a speculative video. Yes, so I have finished the first draft of a novel, which is much longer and much more ambitious in length and in number of characters and sort of complexity of the plot and the philosophical themes. So then the interview is still great, and you can you can download it or you can purchase it. But so there's that, and I think that from an INFJ viewpoint, it would actually be quite interesting, because I suspect that the main character of the book, which is I don't know who inspired him, but I spent a lot of time working on that character, and I hope that he's a success, because a lot of the quality of the novel, I think, will hinge on that. But I suspect he's an INFJ type, so this could be an interesting experience if you're an INFJ. Now, the book that I want to talk about in this video is this project I have going. It's a book that I want to essentially dedicate to the INFJ personality, and specifically to the INFJ personality, not to MBTI as a whole. But I've started the project. So far, it has been quite speculative. In I don't know if speculative is the right word. Maybe a better word would be philosophical. Sort of halfway between philosophy and psychology, and it's theoretical. So it's a bit heavy going so far. So you might as well, be aware of that. If you enjoy approaches to the INFJ type that are not necessarily about practical examples, about how an INFJ is in real life in relation to, like a particular event, particular situation. How does an INFJ react in this? How does it feel to be an INFJ type 4? I know that in some responses to my posts where I announced I was working on this book, there were some people who were sort of indicating that that's what they expected, the sort of more practical approach, the more concrete description side of things. And to me personally, this video provides me with an opportunity to clarify that that's not what excites me when it comes to writing books. I love making videos about these aspects of things, but for me, a video is often a sufficient medium. If I'm going to write a book, I'm going to use the opportunity of having like that space to theorize, to speculate, and to get deep. To get deep is basically the real idea here. You know, if you would like to go deep with me, looking at the INFJ type in a philosophical perspective, then you should consider getting my book when it comes out. The working title, I think, will be tantalizing to some of you, and it might be a bit scary to others. I don't know. I mean, my audience, I've become quite convinced that my audience is made up of very intelligent people. I never doubted that they were intelligent. What I mean is, I think that my audience, if they have stuck to me until now, made up of really above average intelligent people and above average deep people. So perhaps I'm underestimating the chances that this book will attract an audience due to the fact that it is going to be somewhat dense theoretical book that really goes into the deep stuff of the INFJ existential constitution, you know. So it goes beyond, like I said, the actions of the everyday, the situations and behaviors of the everyday, and looks at, you know, to give you an appetizer. So the metaphysics of the INFJ is the working title of the book, and in the introduction, which I have sort of completed, I'm currently working on chapter 2. In the introduction that I've completed, I make the claim, a speculative claim, but a claim nonetheless, that the INFJ is the quintessential metaphysical type, more than any other type. And of course, the book is, in its first, as I envision it, in its first part, is an argument attempting to show that that's the case, by focusing on a number of existential paradoxes that the INFJ has to face. I'll give you 2 concepts that I'm currently developing: alienation and haziness. Alienation and haziness. I might discuss this a bit more in future videos because this could be of interest, and I don't think that if I discuss these concepts and give a bit more meat to the bone, I don't think that this is necessarily going to discourage people from buying the book or make people think that that they understood the concept, and the book will not be of enough additional interest to grab their attention, because the book is going to go a lot deeper in any case than those videos. You know, it's I don't know how long it will be. I'm anticipating anywhere between 100 and 200 pages. That's my current purpose. So I think that I'll manage something there. You know, I'm excited, and I've been writing a lot. Like for the last 5 days, I've been writing a lot. So that's, I'm not forcing myself. It's very enjoyable, and I can sort of tap into my knowledge of the INFJ type, partly through obviously self-exploration, but also through the immense number of interactions I've been lucky to have with INFJs. Some of them in real life, the majority of them online, but you know, so that's a formidable resource, and I'm kind of excited now to finally put my thoughts together and develop this book. Like in the introduction, I also indicate that the book is not going to offer a new model of personality. It's a focus on the INFJ type. Now there are comparisons with other types, particularly the INTJ type. I'm not going to lie, the principal point of comparison is the INTJ type in the book. And that's not for arbitrary reasons. The main reason why I'm focusing on the INTJ type as my point of comparison is that NI dominance kind of gives you access to the existential constitution of the INFJ and the INTJ, which I call alienation. And then comes the question how to circumvent, how to bypass this existential alienation. And I argue that the INTJ has a readier function, extroverted thinking, namely to achieve that the INFJ doesn't have. So in the end, the INTJ type will be a point of comparison in the book, but it will not be, my main domain of research. That's the INFJ type. So far I can give you some, like the title is Metaphysics of the INFJ. That's the working title, but I really like it, so it's quite possible I'll keep it. I sense that I'm going to keep this. Now the introduction is the introduction. There's no title. The chapter 1, existential alienation, and chapter 2, working title at the moment, is the world recovered. Chapter 3, I think, is can be called vision and vocation. At least that's how I envision it. We'll see how it turns out. And then I have like some working ideas and titles for chapters 4 and 5, but I think that these are more tentative, more uncertain, but at the moment I'm thinking of writing a chapter titled, chapter 4, titled Building Open Bridges, and chapter 5, not to spoil anything, but chapter 5 would be something like The Path to Monism. If you are familiar with my work on open monism, you can see a link there, and I'm probably going to be using some of the insights of open monism in my analysis of the INFJ type from a philosophical and psychological viewpoint. But the main premise of the book is the INFJ type is a fundamentally unique type insofar as it is fundamentally doubly alienated from the world. Now, both the ways in which the INFJ type can address this double alienation, and the ways in which it can actually harness this unique condition, this unique existential circumstance in the world, to ends which can be world-changing, in fact. These are topics that I'm going to discuss. So do not expect me to talk about, what to do if you are an INFJ and you want to date. These topics are totally worthwhile. I discuss them in other videos. I'm just not going to discuss them in this particular book. It's going to be the book of a philosopher who is ever fascinated with the INFJ type. And I dare say, not because he is of the INFJ type, but because this type just remains so bloody mysterious all the time, doesn't it? So I had decided to talk about one of the main not the main, but one insight that I've been able to concretize from my writing so far, which is a look at the NITI loop, because it's a concept that I've always been a little bit dissatisfied with in the literature. I've always been aware that it is intuitively important. There's something to it for sure, but I've never been completely convinced that it has been well addressed. So in my book, I offer a theoretical alternative to explaining what it is and where it comes from. Because often in the literature that you have available, it explains you what it is, but it doesn't really explain to you where it comes from in detail. So I provide an explanation, and I think that I will make a video on that topic. It will also maybe constitute one of the early appetizers to the full book, because it could be a way of getting you, if not salivating, I will not be so, pretentious or presumptuous. But, at the very least, intrigued by the direction that I'm going to take. And I think that on these words, I'm going to wish you a lovely Sunday. Finally, the weather has cleared up a little bit around here, so I think I'm going to go for a nice long walk, and I will catch you in the next video. Now, since I'm writing this book on the INFJ now, and I'm getting really excited, it is possible that the rhythm at which I'll be making videos in the next few weeks or months, possibly, not promising anything, but it could become a little bit more sustained, because I'm going to get lots of ideas. Okay? But in the meantime, I'll see you soon. Ciao!